So we had a small rented house. Uh, so after that, then we searched for the land. From the searching of the land till getting permission for the construction, constructing the whole voice. And I can say that is this, after Kharagpur, that was the first one, our youth center, which was constructed by, as per our need. And Chakrapani Krishna Prabhu was not just a project manager for the NITK other activity, but he was the overall coordinator for construction. And I can see day and night the way he did that wonderful seva. Mm, those days were different. He was there even for watering. you, you remember the slab? First slab was put. And I used to come 15 days Pune and 15 days NITK. So it was a great support. And after completing his MTech, immediately he joined as in a Brahmachari ashram and completed very nice PDC training. And he got to know many his friends in Brahmachari ashram and to whom he associated very closely. And after that, then he entered in Grahastha ashram, Bangalore. Then he decided to do his PhD in ISC Bangalore, and he got it. I think mathematics.
Yeah.
I don't know. That maybe deep. So, Prabhuji already completed, or now your last stage?
Yeah. Not yet completed.
Got it?
Not yet.
Okay, okay. So he's in the process completing his PhD. So it's another feather in his career, which will be a great asset for his being a preacher in Krishna consciousness. So he is a lover of speaker for Bhagavad Gita. He also gave once a Bhakti Shastri course in ICC, yeah, to devotees. And also he gives wonderful Shrimad Bhagavatam. Especially, he is very keen is in preaching Krishna consciousness message in Kannada language. Hmm? He used to give classes in HGM Temple, Sri Jagannath Mandir in Bangalore. And also he is very keen in traditional Varnashrama system implementation. And we were partners going to Melkote every month, at least every month 4 or 5 days. So Shushruti and Shaligram Prabhu, then Kaustubh Prabhu, and that
Hemant.
Hemant, what? Hari Gaurang. Hari Gaurang, his name. Hari Gaurang Prabhu, myself, as a team. And for that purpose, we purchased a car. We took that car. That car is still we are using. Perfectly made for 5 people to travel. Thoroughly used. So we used to go and learn Sanskrit at the feet of Lakshmi Tata Acharya. And so he is very keen in basically traditional sciences and also Gurukul Vidya. And in future, uh, he will surely contribute in that direction. Hare Krishna. Chakrapani Krishna Prabhu ki jai. So these are the devotees. Some of the devotees are our IYF devotees, and some of the devotees, our ashram devotees. You will get introduced soon. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
What is the time, Prabhu? Till what time? 9 o'clock.
9:15 also. 1 hour.
Yeah. Oh, Hindi. English. Bathroom English, no?
Till 9 o'clock you can take class, and after that question answer.
Yeah. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना। यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना। नन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना। यमुना तीरवनचारि। यमुना तीरवनचारि। राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। राधा माधव जय राधा माधव, राधा माधव जय राधा माधव। जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय, गौरनिताय श्री श्री गौरनिताय। प्रभुपाद 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 श्रील प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। जय ओम श्रीपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद भाई चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। कौन बी बेटी पौंडराचार्य सेवर ऑफ द होल वर्ल्ड जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। हिताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू सिंबल डिवोटीज हरे कृष्णा, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू सिंबल डिवोटीज हरे कृष्णा, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू सिंबल डिवोटीज हरे कृष्णा, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरु and श्री गौरांग गौर हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा। Reading from Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, verse number 5. स आदिदेवो जगतां परो गुरुः स्वधिष्ण्यमास्थाय सिसृक्षयैक्षत तां नाध्यगच्छदृशमत्र सम्मताम् प्रपञ्च निर्माणविधिर्यया भवेत्। स आदिदेवो जगतां परो गुरुः स्वधिष्ण्यमास्थाय सिसृक्षयैक्षत तां नाध्यगच्छद् दृशमत्र सम्मताम् प्रपञ्च निर्माणविधिर्यया भवेत्। स आदिदेवो जगतां परो गुरुः स्वधिष्ण्यमास्थाय सिसृक्षयैक्षत तां नाध्यगच्छदृशमात्र सम्मताम् प्रपञ्च निर्माणविधिर्यया भवेत्। स आदिदेवो जगतां परो गुरुः स्वधिष्ण्यमास्थाय सिसृक्षयैक्षत तां नाध्यगच्छदृशमात्र सम्मताम् प्रपञ्च निर्माण विधिर्यया भवेत् स आदिदेवो जगतां परो गुरुः स्वधिष्ण्यमास्थाय सिसृक्षयैक्षत तां नाध्यगच्छदृशमात्र सम्मताम् प्रपञ्च निर्माण विधिर्यया भवेत् स आदिदेवो जगतां परो गुरुः स्वधिष्ण्यमास्थाय सिसृक्षयैक्षत तां नाध्यगच्छदृशमात्र सम्मताम् प्रपञ्च निर्माण विधिर्यया भवेत् पदार्थ अनुवाद तात्पर्य by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय. Saha hi Adidevaha, the first demigod, Jagatam, of the universe, Paraha, supreme, Guruhu, spiritual master, Swadhishnyam, his lotus seat, Asthaya, to find the source of it, Sisikshaya, for the matter of creating the universal affairs, Aikshata, began to think, Tam, in that matter, Na, could not, Adhyagachat, understand, Drisham, the direction, Atra, therein, Sammatam, just the proper way, Prapancha, material, Nirmana, construction, Vidhihi, process, Yaya, as much as, Bhavet, should be. Translation: Lord Brahma, the first spiritual master, supreme in the universe, could not trace out the source of his lotus seat. And while thinking of creating the middle world, he could not understand the proper direction for such creative work, nor could he find out the process for such creation. Purport: this verse is the prelude for explaining the transcendental nature of the form and the abode of the Lord. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it has already been said that the Supreme Absolute Truth exists in his own abode without any touch of the deluding energy. Therefore, Kingdom of God is not a myth, but factually a different and transcendental sphere of planets known as the Vaikunthas. This will also be explained in this chapter. Such knowledge of the spiritual sky far above this metal sky and its paraphernalia can be known only by dint of devotional service or bhakti yoga. Power of creation by Lord Brahma was also achieved by bhakti yoga. Brahmaji was bewildered in the matter of creation, and he could not even trace out the source of his own existence. But all this knowledge was fully achieved by him through the medium of bhakti yoga. By bhakti yoga, one can know the Lord, and by knowing the Lord as a supreme, one is able to know everything else. One who knows the Supreme knows everything else. That is a version of all Vedas. Even the first spiritual master of the universe was enlightened by the grace of the Lord. So, who else can attain perfect knowledge of everything without the mercy of the Lord? If anyone desires to seek perfect knowledge of everything, he must seek the mercy of the Lord, and there is no other means. To seek knowledge on the strength of one's own personal attempt is a sheer waste of time. Repeating the Anuvada in Kannada also. ಪ್ರಥಮ ಗುರುವು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಂಡದ ಪರಮ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠನೂ ಆದ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ದೇವನಿಗೆ ತನ್ನ ಕಮಲ ಆಸನದ ಮೂಲವನ್ನು ಕಾಣಲು ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಐಹಿಕ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಕುರಿತು ಚಿಂತನೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಅಂತಹ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಕಾರ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಸರಿಯಾದ ದಿಗ್ದರ್ಶನವಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಅಂತಹ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯ ವಿಧಾನವು ತೋರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ. ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪ್ರೇಯರ್ಸ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ವಿ ಬಿಗಿನ್. ಓಂ ಅಜ್ಞಾನತಿಮಿರಂಧಸ್ಯ ಜ್ಞಾನಾಂಜನಶಲಾಕಯಾ ಚಕ್ಷುರುನ್ಮೀಲಿತಂ ಯೇನ ತಸ್ಮೈ ಶ್ರೀಗುರವೇ ನಮಃ. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणलिता साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे त्वं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिमत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनदारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यैश्वरम् Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody for Bhagavatam discussion. It's my great fortune to be with all of you, especially the one who handheld me in Krishna consciousness, His Grace Sadayagi Prabhuji. So whatever Prabhuji told, I was able to do some service. I was able to do because Prabhuji engaged me in those services. He guided me, he engaged me. So I would be forever grateful to Prabhuji for giving me so much of opportunities to learn and practice Krishna consciousness in the formative years, which has helped me to understand the value of both practice and service of Krishna consciousness. Okay. So I also seek the blessings of the Lordships, Srila Prabhupada, so that I can do this service to the best of my capacity for my purification and for the benefit of Krishna consciousness of all of us. So the chapter is titled Answers by Citing the Lord's Version, and the previous chapter is Questions by King Parikshit. So basically, Parikshit Maharaj asked questions to Shukadeva Goswami in the previous chapter, and Shukadeva Goswami is answering those questions in this chapter. And he is answering by citing the version of the Lord. That is basically the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, which is going to come. It's one of the crux, essence of Bhagavatam is there in this particular chapter. One of the very special chapters which will be discussed in the future days. So in the first verse of 8th chapter, Shukadeva Goswami discussed how did Narad Muni, whose hearers are as fortunate as those instructed by Lord Brahma, explain the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is without any material qualities, and before whom did he speak. So here Prabhupada says that Devarshi Narada Muni was directly instructed by Brahmaji, and Brahmaji himself was directly instructed by Supreme Lord, which we see in this particular chapter, 9th chapter, right? So Lord directly instructed Chatushloki Bhagavatam to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji instructed directly to Narad Muni, and Narad Muni instructed directly to Vyasdev. We know that's how parampara comes, right? So Prabhupada says that whatever instructions Narad Muni imparted to his disciples, like Vedavyasa and all others, are as good as those of the Supreme Lord. So that is the way, that is the process to understand Vedic knowledge. Comes in parampara, and the last link in parampara, right, is as potent as the first link. There's no difference, right? So after asking couple of questions, Parikshit expresses his desire to hear more of Bhagavatam. So usually, if we value something, right, we glorify that. Parikshit Maharaj glorifies Bhagavatam in couple of selected shlokas, which I will repeat. Shrinvatah Shraddhaya Nityam Krinatascha Svatye Sthitam Kalena Nati Dirghena Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. This verse says that anybody with Shraddha and Nitya, right? Shraddhaya and Nitya, these are the two conditions. Shrinvatah, anybody who hears Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and with faith, right? And whatever they hear, they take it seriously. They don't hear it like a story and forget, right? They take it to heart, right? What happens for them? Kalena na ati dirghena. Ati dirgha means prolonged. Na ati dirghena means quick. Kalena na ati dirghena. Very quickly, what happens to them is Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. Supreme Lord gets seated in their heart. Lord makes his heart as his own home. Pravishtah karnarandhrena swanam bhavasaroruham dhunoti shamalam krishnah salilasya yatha sharat. In this verse, continuation of the glories of Bhagavatam. So just for the benefit of those who may not understand English, I'll just repeat the same thing in Kannada. ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಪರೀಕ್ಷಿತ್ ಮಹಾರಾಜರು ಭಾಗವತದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಯಾರು ಭಾಗವತವನ್ನ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆಯಿಂದ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿತ್ಯ, ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಒಂದಿನ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಕಥೆ ತರ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮನಸ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವರು ಅತಿ ಶೀಘ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ ಹೃದಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಗವಂತ ವಾಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನಂತೆ. The next shloka says that pravishtah karnarandraena swanam bhavasaroruham. So the same Bhagavata, message of Bhagavata, it enters through the karnarandra, through the holes in the ears. And then from there, it enters the bhavasaroruha, the heart, which is the seat of emotions, right? And then the message of Bhagavatam, it sits on the lotus flower of the loving relationship, bhavasaroruha. Then what it does? It cleanses the heart. Dhunoti shamalam Krishna. So Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. So the message of Bhagavatam is same as Krishna. So Krishna enters. We say hearing Bhagavatam through our ears, who enters? Krishna directly enters. Krishna enters our heart. And to rekindle that loving relationship, he cleanses the heart. Dhunoti shamalam Krishna. Just like there is a pool of muddy water, and when rain comes, right, the mud gets cleared, right? Salilasya yatha sharat. In the Sharad Rutu, when the rain comes, right, the salila, the pool of muddy water, it gets cleansed. Similarly, our heart gets cleansed of all dirt, contamination by hearing the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಭಾಗವತದ ಈ ಸಂದೇಶ ನಾವು ಕಿವಿಯ ಮೂಲಕ ಏನು ಕೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಅವಾಗ ಕೃಷ್ಣ, ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ಣರಂಧ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರವೇಶ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೃದಯದ ಏನು ಅದ ಭಾವ, ಒಂದು ಸೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೃದಯವನ್ನು ಶುದ್ಧಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಭಾಗವತದ ಒಂದು ಸಂದೇಶ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಜೊತೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಮೂಲ ಪ್ರೇಮ ಸಂಬಂಧವನ್ನು ಮರುಸ್ಥಾಪನೆ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಧೌತಾತ್ಮ ಪುರುಷ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪಾದ ಮೂಲಂ ನ ಮುಂಚತಿ ಮುಕ್ತ ಸರ್ವ ಪರಿಕ್ಲೇಶ ಪಾಂತಃ ಸ್ವಶರಣಂ ಯಥಾ. This is the third verse glorifying Bhagavatam by Parikshit Maharaj. So what he says is that having thus cleansed dhautatma purushaha, so when his heart is cleansed by hearing the message of Bhagavatam, when Krishna enters through his karnarandhra, he cleanses the message. Such dhautatma purusha, he will never give up the lotus feet of the Lord. Krishna padamulam na munchati. Muktaha sarva parikleshaha. So he is relieved of all troubles. Sarva pariklesha, all kinds of troubles in life. He is relieved of it. How? Bhagavatam gives an analogy. Parikshit Maharaj gives an analogy. He says that Pantaha swasharanam yatha. Somebody who is traveling in the scorching heat, right? He is having so much of difficulties. But moment he enters his place of residence, the way he feels relieved totally. Similarly, somebody whose heart is cleansed and who attains Krishna consciousness, he feels same relief. He is relieved of all kind of sufferings. Muktaha sarva parikleshaha. So after glorifying Bhagavatam, Parishit Maharaj continues to ask questions. So he asks a couple of questions. He asks many questions, but now I'm going to discuss a couple of questions what he asks. And in connection to that, in this particular chapter, 9th chapter, Shukadeva Goswami gives answers. Okay. So the two questions asked by Parikshit Maharaj are as follows. First question is, O learned Brahmana, the transcendental spirit soul is different from material body. Does he acquire the body accidentally or by some cause? Please explain this to me because you know it. That is the first question. I'll repeat. The question is, soul is different from body. How does soul acquire body? Is it accidental or there is some cause behind it? Okay. Second question. Lord's form, though it is different from the material human form, right? But it looks similar. Lord's form looks similar to humans, right? What is the difference between the two? These are the two questions he asked. Okay. I'll repeat the questions in Kannada. ಆತ್ಮ ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ದೇಹದಿಂದ ಭಿನ್ನ. ಆದರೆ ಈ ಆತ್ಮದ ಆವರಣ ದೇಹ ಹೇಗೆ ಶುರುವಾಯಿತು? ಆಕಸ್ಮಿಕವಾಗಿ ಶುರುವಾಯ್ತಾ ಅಥವಾ ಅದಕ್ಕೇನಾರ ಕಾರಣ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಅದು ಮೊದಲನೇ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ಎರಡನೇ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ, ಭಗವಂತನ ದೇಹ ನಮ್ಮ ಭೌತಿಕ ಶರೀರಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಭಿನ್ನ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು, ಆದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಕ್ ಒಂದೇ ತರ ಇದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ನಿಜವಾದ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇದೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡಿ. So these are the two questions asked by Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj begins answering in the beginning of this 9th chapter. So in the first verse itself, he starts the answer. He says that pure soul, when it is in pure consciousness, it cannot have any kind of meaningful relationship with the material body. So the relationship of soul with the material body happens only under the influence of Mahamaya. The Mahamaya or the energy, external energy of the Supreme Lord. Only under the influence of Mahamaya, soul gets heavily identified with the material body. So just like in dreams, sometimes we see our own body functioning, right? It's like we go outside the body and start seeing how our body is functioning. Similarly, a pure spirit soul will not identify with the material body. Okay. But under the heavy influence of Mahamaya, we start thinking that this body is not different from me. Now, what happens to such jiva who has identified heavily with the material body due to the influence of Maya? Due to influence of Maya, he started identifying with the material body. So what happens? The jiva appears to take many forms. Sometimes take forms of infant, adolescent, or he may take even different life forms, like he may take animal forms, or he may take even forms of devata, demigods. So many forms he can take. But actually it is not a fact, in the sense that Jiva is spiritual. All these material forms are material. Then why does it take all these forms? It takes all these forms because of his disposition. Again, the disposition is influenced by Mahamaya. Because of his various identifications, he starts having different dispositions. And based on the disposition, he will start having different bodily forms. Okay. So it is said in the Shastras, Yaya Kshetragna Shaktihi Sa Taratamyena Vartate. Whatever is the Kshetragna Shakti. The Kshetragna is now, for example, for all of us, we are a Kshetragna for our material body. We can only perceive what happens within the material body. Not fully, but to some extent. Right? I can't perceive what's happening in some neighbor's body. Right? So we are also called as Kshetragna. Right? But Krishna is Kshetragna of all the bodies. We are a Kshetragna of our own particular body. So based on the Kshetragna Shakti, right? Everybody has different capabilities. That's why there is what is called as Taratamya. All jivas you can't say they are same. Though the spiritual particle is same, but because of the influence of Mahamaya, they have got different type of Kshetragna now. So hence there is a Taratamya. Okay? So all jivas in material world, they exist with differences. So now this jiva, he endures countless births through the influence of Maya. Okay? So having countless births. But by some unexpected influence of Bhakti Yoga, unexpected, like how many of us planned to come to Krishna consciousness? Raise your hands. Anybody planned, I want to come to Krishna consciousness, and we came? Unexpected influence. We were going somewhere else, somebody pulled us to Krishna consciousness. Right? None of us planned. Devotees planned, but I didn't plan. Right? So unexpected influence of Bhakti. Right? What happens is, I mean, if we stick to the process, we eventually end up having Krishna Prema. Right? So once we attain that state, then all the births will put a full stop. No more births after that. That is full stop. Right? So that's how you terminate this cycle of having different types of bodies, right? So before, when he was identifying with the body, he had very strong sense of aham mama. He was considering something related to his body as his, and he identified with his body as self. That's why aham and mama. Anything related to body, he used to, he considers it very close to him. Anything which goes against, he will start fighting with them. Right? It's a lot of very strong aham mama influence. Right? So he has to actually give it up. So that happens once we start transcending the Maya. Okay. Then what happens is he will take shelter in real Swartha. Otherwise, in material conceptions, we have very different Swartha. Right? Once the Mahamaya goes away, right, we start taking shelter in real Swartha. What is the real Swartha? Krishna. Nate vidu Swarthagatim hi Vishnu. Okay. So that's about the cause or the reason behind the living entity taking various bodily forms. Okay. Now the second question. The second question was, how is the Lord's body different from body taken by jivas? Right. The difference is the Lord is devoid of any kind of transformations due to time and due to Maya. Due to the influence of time, the same jiva, the body gets transformed, right? We were all very young toddlers. Now we have grown up. Eventually we'll become old. The body has gone so much of transformations. And over a period of time, we will also have to give up this body and go take another body. So a lot of transformations because of time and Mahamaya. Lord's body will never undergo any such change. In the same chapter, after a couple of verses, 2.9.10, Sudhir Goswami says, forget about Lord. Even the Dhama, the Vaikunta, also never undergoes any transformation due to time and Mahamaya. Not just Vaikuntas, even all the Vaikunta Vasi, all the residents of Dham, they also never undergo any change due to time and Maya. Hence, such dwellers of Vaikuntha, they are worshipable by all Devas, Asuras, and even devotees. Okay, I'll just summarize briefly in Kannada what we discussed. ಸೊ 2 ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಯನ್ನ ಸುಖದೇವ ಗೋಸ್ವಾಮಿಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಪರೀಕ್ಷಿತ್ ಮಹಾರಾಜ್. ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಏನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಜೀವ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಹನ ಧರಿಸ್ತಾನೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಏನು? ಅದು ಅಚಾನಕ್ ಆಗತ್ತಾ ಅಥವಾ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೂಲ ಕಾರಣ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಎರಡನೇ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ, ಜೀವನ್ ದೇಹ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ದೇಹ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಉತ್ತರವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಜೀವ ಮೂಲತಃ ಅವನು ಆತ್ಮ, ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಆದರೆ ಮಾಯೆಯ ಒಂದು ನಿಯಂತ್ರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಒಳಗಾಗಿ ಅವನು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಹಗಳನ್ನು ಧರಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಅವನು ಒಂದು ದೇವತೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಹಗಳು ಅವನ ಮಾಯೆಯಿಂದ, ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವನ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರಜ್ಞ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಅದು ಬದಲಾಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ದೇವತೆ ಏನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡಬಲ್ಲ, ಏನ್ ನಿಯಂತ್ರಿಸಬಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು ಇರುವೆ ಏನ್ ನಿಯಂತ್ರಿಸಬಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಭೌತಿಕ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಭಗವಂತ ಅವನು ಮಾಯೆ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾಲ ಎರಡಕ್ಕೂ ಅತೀತ. ಅವನ ದೇಹ ಮಾಯೆಯಿಂದ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾಲದ ದೆಸೆಯಿಂದ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಕಾಣೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬರೀ ಭಗವಂತ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಭಗವಂತನ ಧಾಮ ಸಹಿತ ಮತ್ತೆ ಭಗವಂತನ ಧಾಮದಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಧಾಮವಾಸಿಗಳು ಸಹಿತ, ವೈಕುಂಠವಾಸಿಗಳು ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅವರು ಕಾಣೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಭಗವಂತನ ಧಾಮದ ವಾಸಿಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಜನರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭಕ್ತರ, ಅಭಕ್ತರ, ದೇವತೆಗಳ, ದಾನವರ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಪೂಜೆಗೆ ಅರ್ಹರು ಅಂತ ಸುಖದೇವ ಗೋಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವತ್ತೇನು ಶ್ಲೋಕನ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಅದರ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವ ವಿಶುದ್ಧ್ಯರ್ಥಂ ಯದಾಹ ಭಗವಾನ್ ಋತಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಣೇ ದರ್ಶಯನ್ ರೂಪಂ ಅವ್ಯಲೀಕ ವ್ರತಾದೃತಃ. ಹಿಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕ, the previous verse. Supreme Person of Godhead, being very much pleased with Lord Brahma because of his non-deceptive penance in Bhakti Yoga, presented his eternal and transcendental form before Brahma. That is the objective goal for purifying the conditioned soul. So, what is this verse speaking about? This verse is speaking about how somebody can get attached to something. First of all, to whom one should get attached? Something which is beyond time and Maya. Who is that? That is first thing the verse is speaking about. The next thing the verse is speaking about, what is the process? How that attachment is possible. Okay. So the answer is, one should get attached to Bhagavan, and the process is Avyalika Vrata. Avyalika Vrata, Prabhupada translates as without any deceptive motive. Word-to-word translation, and in the translation Prabhupada says that non-deceptive penance in Bhakti Yoga. Right? That is the process. How one can get attached to the Supreme Lord who is beyond diamond, Maya. Srila Sridhara Swami also explains the difference between Lord's form and the Jiva's body. The shloka goes like this. जीवस्याविदया आविद्यक देह संबंधः ईश्वरस्य तु योगमायया चिद्घनलीला विग्रह आविर्भाव इति महान् विशेष उक्तः. What does it say? It says that जीवस्य avit, with means knowledge, avit means ignorance, avidaya, due to ignorance. So jiva is related with a body made up of maya, the material elements, right? Due to avidya. Avidyaka deha. The deha is itself is called as made of ignorance, right? But for Lord, Ishwarasya tu yoga mayaya. So in Gita also, Vishtabhyaham idam krishnam sambhavami atma mayaya. Right? Yeah. So Lord appears through his atma maya, that is yoga maya. So Lord's form is by yoga maya. Chid ghana lila vigraha. So the form of the Lord is full of chit, that is knowledge, and lila. Okay. Now coming to today's verse. So Adidevo Jagatam Paro Guruhu. So Lord Brahma is called as Adideva, because he is the first creation by Supreme Lord. Right? Adideva is the original. Jagatam Paro Guruhu. He is the first spiritual master of the entire creation. So what did he do? Swadhishnyam asthaya. Swadhishnyam, his seat, that is lotus. Asthaya. So what he did is he tried to go down and see where is the source of this lotus. Right? Sisikshaya aikshata. He wanted to understand what is the origin of this lotus. So he started considering all the different, options. He tried to go down and check. Tam na adhyagachat. He could not understand. Adhyagachat means to understand. Na adhyagachat, he could not understand. Tam dursham. What he could not understand? He could not understand, Prabhupada says, the direction for creative work. And Vishwanath Chakravarti, he says, the knowledge required for creative work. Right? Before you do anything, you should know how to do it. Right? The knowledge. And then one should also know what is the process. What needs to be done, that should be known. And then how it should be done, that should be known. Right? If you don't know what needs to be done, if you don't know how it should be done, you can't. So Brahma did not know what exactly he needs to do and how it has to be done. He didn't have answers to this. So Brahma was contemplating. He tried discovering by whatever is through his external senses, but he could not. So then he started contemplating. What should I do? How do I carry out the creation? Then, close by in the water, he heard two syllables. So Bhagavatam says that he heard 16th and 21st Varna of the Sparsha Vyanjana. So there are Swaras and Vyanjanas in Sanskrit. In the Vyanjana, we have what is called Sparsha Vyanjana, which is basically Vargiya Vyanjana. So in a Vargiya Vyanjana, it's called Sparsha because the tongue touches different parts of the mouth when you are pronouncing that. And in that way, the five letters are arranged. For example, the first 5 letters, K, 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 G, Nga, they are pronounced with the help of Kantha, tongue and Kantha. Next is Ch, Ch, J, Jh, Nga. So Anunasik also you have to pronounce with the same. Usually for Ayavanasika we say na, na, na. No, it is the same place. That is second, that is Talu, palate. And third is Ta. Tha, da, dha, no. Right? Top, right? Murdha, molar. Next is the, th, the, na. We use danta. Next is oshtha. We use lips. Pa, pa, ba, pa, ma. Right? Like this, every 5 letters, they arise at a particular place in the mouth. Okay? Now the 16th letter of that is coming, that is in danta. First 15 over, 16th is ta. Then 21st is pa. Ta, pa. So here's the word tapa. So tapa, so usually we think that tapa is a noun, but actually it's a verb. It instructs Brahma, do penance. Okay. And it says that, Bhagavatam says that, it is known as wealth of the devotees. This tapa is the wealth of the devotees. Like for brahmacharis, what is the wealth? The sadhana, what they do, that is their wealth. Right? That is tapasya. So now we will focus on some salient points from the purports of Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Prabhupada says, Brahmaji was bewildered in the matter of creation. And he could not even trace out the source of his own existence. So Brahmaji, so capable, right? We cannot even fathom the energy or even the capacity of Brahmaji. It's in Brahma Samhita, we hear similar verse. Panthastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo vayo ratha pimanaso munipungavanam sopyasti yat prapadasimnya vichintya tattve govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yes. Koti shatavatsara sampragamya. Koti shata, billions of years. What? Muni Pungava, the great Munis, if they try to understand Lord using their mind, right? Using the speed of wind or even the speed of mind, right? With that speed, if they traverse for billions of years, right? If they do that kind of an analysis, what they end up with? Simni avichintya tattve. They will, at the maximum, they can understand tip of the toe of the Supreme Lord. That's it. Right? So that is not the process to understand Supreme Lord. Then what is the process? Prabhupada says, such knowledge of the spiritual sky, far above this material sky, can be known only by dint of devotional service. Which is confirmed in many places in Bhagavad Gita, in 8th chapter, Purusha saparah partha bhaktya labhyah tvananyaya. Ananyaya bhaktya. That bhakti. So what type of bhakti? Divided bhakti? No. Ananya should be undivided attention to Supreme Lord. Okay. Then, if somebody performs such kind of devotional service to Krishna, what happens? Knower of Krishna. So he will first understand Krishna, right? And once he understands Krishna, he knows everything else. Yo mam evam asammudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavit. Sa sarvavit. Bhajati mam sarva bhavena bhavarta. He becomes sarvavit. He becomes aware of everything. Then once he is like, he knows everything, what he does? Bhajati mam sarva bhavena. He worships Krishna with full of heart. No division. Only focus on Krishna. With all his emotions, he serves Krishna. So if anyone desires to seek perfect knowledge of everything, what he should do? Prabhupada says, you must seek the mercy of the Lord. Now, what is the meaning of mercy of the Lord? Mercy of the Lord comes through mercy. of his pure devotees. Comes through the mercy of literatures like the literature like Bhagavatam. That's how we access the mercy. So in Garuda Purana it is stated, Visheshatah swottameshu vina sangam na muchyate swanicheshu tu deveshu vina sangam na puryate. It says that one cannot be liberated without association with the pure devotee of the Lord. Visheshatah swottameshu, somebody who is much better than us, without taking association of them, vina sangam na muchyate. And next point is also interesting. Swanicheshu tu deveshu vina sangam na puryate. If somebody is lower than us, somebody is better than us, we take their association. Somebody who is lower than us, what we do? We have to show mercy. If we don't show mercy to people who may be in an inferior position, our life will also be superficial. So Prabhupada has done this. He has given the association for all of us, right? Who are better than us. And he also has engaged all of us in preaching. The act of displaying compassion, spreading Krishna consciousness is very much important for our own growth. It's not actually we are trying to benefit others, because benefiting others is who can do? Guru and Krishna. We are only agents and instruments, but it's actually going to help us. Okay, so to conclude, time is up. To conclude, when a person is fully engaged in devotional service, he is favored by the Lord. At such a time, the awakened devotee gives up all material activities and ritualistic performances mentioned in the Vedas. Okay, so I just wanted to add one more point before I conclude this. The point is, usually we know that all Vedic literature is important, but there is gradation, right? We know so Bhagavatam is the pinnacle, topmost. How should we have, what kind of view we should have towards the literatures? Madhvacharya quotes from Brahmanda Purana. He says that one should have complete faith in the transcendental literature like Srimad Bhagavatam and other literatures which directly glorifies the Supreme Lord. Okay. One should also have faith in other literatures like Vaishnava Tantras, the original Vedas, and the Mahabharata, which includes Bhagavad Gita, which is considered fifth Veda. The Vedas originally emanated from breathing of Lord Vishnu. And the Vedas are also compiled by none other than incarnation of Vishnu, that is Vyasadeva. So hence, who is the speaker of all the Vedas? Supreme Lord. Vishnu is the speaker of all the Vedas. Now there are other subsidiary sections in the Vedas, like Kala Vidya, which gives instructions on different material arts, sciences, Ayurveda, right? Different aspects. All such Vedic arts and sciences are also ultimately intended to be used in devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So hence, a devotee of the Lord, he might have renounced all this, but he will never blaspheme those literatures. Because such literatures are indirectly connected. Literatures like Bhagavatam are directly connected to Supreme Lord. The others are indirectly connected. Now, Shraddha means faithful mentality. It has two sections. First section is firm conviction that every statement in the Vedas is a fact. That is, Vedas are infallible. Vedas say something, it's a fact. That is Shraddha, right? Second type of Shraddha is to achieve perfection in my life. Which particular instruction should I follow? For example, in Vedas, there are all different types of worships and mentioned, right? But all of us, what we have chosen? We have chosen to serve Krishna, right? And we only practice those injunctions which are very favorable to developing devotion to Krishna. So, with respect to other literatures like Kalavidya and others, devotee should have first type of faith for them that they are fact, right? It's infallible. But what about personal goal of life? Is my personal goal of life is to practice all the secondary literatures? No. For my personal practice, what I will do? I will have second type of faith. I'll choose that particular section of Vedas which is directly applicable to me. Like for example, in our ISKCON, in our Gaudiya Parampara, we emphasize Srimad Bhagavatam, right? To apply in our life. Okay. So like this, one when faithfully engages in practicing Krishna consciousness as directed by scriptures and by spiritual master, one is favored by the Lord, one gets causeless mercy of the Lord. And that mercy is the path to receive everything. Okay. So that completes discussion from my side. So we have few minutes available for any discussion, any comments, any feedback, any questions. Yeah.
I had two questions. First of all, thanks very much for very systematically coming to today's verse, starting from previous chapter till now. So I was remembering NITK days when you used to give classes, very systematic presentation. So thank you. So about this tapasya, Prabhuji, which you mentioned. So some places we hear that tapasya is very important for bhakti. Then we discuss that yes, in tapasya also there is two types. One is devotional tapasya and non-devotional tapasya. A devotee should do devotional tapasya. And then sometime we hear that Prabhupada already given us the 4 regulative principles, which is enough. And more than that, there is no need to do. So can you throw light on this? Because we see different devotees do different levels of tapasya. And when we see other devotee doing tapasya, then we feel that we are not able to do. So are we like practicing our strength in bhakti is less or something?
Okay. Yeah. So in a sense, if I split your question into two parts, part one, what type of tapasya is it, devotional, non-devotional? Yes, so we are going to focus on only devotional type of tapasya because, as I already mentioned, Vedas have all types of injunctions, but we will pick those which are favorable for practice, achieving Krishna Prema, right? So that is what we are. There are other, like for example, in Kumbh Mela, you see that many sadhus are there who are lying on thorn. It's a tapasya. It's not easy to lie on thorn, throughout always in a thorn bed. Very hard. But yeah, they will get some different type of siddhi by that, but they will not get Krishna by that, right? I mean, that's not the process to achieve Krishna consciousness. So those kind of tapasya we don't have to do, not necessary, right? We'll focus on devotional tapasya. And regarding within Krishna association of devotees, different devotees may be practicing different levels of tapasya. What should we practice? Yes, so based on our particular level of Krishna consciousness we are in, right? We should always strive to go one step further, right? I may not have to chant like the Haridas Thakur because I'm not at that level. I can't imitate. There is no benefit in imitating. We will never be Haridas Thakur. In fact, we may go to the other extreme, right? We should never imitate the tapasya of, forget about Haridas Thakur, even some senior devotee. If he may be doing something, we don't have to imitate him, but we can always take inspiration. For example, some senior devotee is able to chant 64 rounds. Can I chant 32 rounds? Or can I chant at least 20 rounds, right? Some tapasya, whatever is in our capacity. So the idea of tapasya is that we get absorbed, right? So, for example, when I sit for chanting, if my mind is distracted everywhere without absorption, if I am chanting, that will not give me that kind of enrichment of my feelings and emotions. But if I attentively chant, right, you can clearly see the difference, that I can feel some kind of satisfaction at heart. I can feel some kind of connection, though very feeble, but some connection I can see with Krishna, right? So that is the focus. The tapasya is not just to show, just to be austere. I am not austere. So here Brahmaji did tapasya with a purpose, right? Without purpose, he didn't do tapasya. Similarly, my purpose should be very clear. My purpose is to grow in Krishna consciousness, to improve my own Krishna consciousness, not to compete with anybody else. My goal is to achieve Krishna Prema, right? And I am at a particular level right now. How can I take one step further? How can I enrich my Krishna consciousness and go one step further? So, and whatever is required for that, that kind of tapasya, we need to practice. Now, tapasya does not mean that, again, four religious principles, for example, one can follow the same four religious principles at different levels of strictness, right? I mean, there are multiple flavors to it. So, the idea is basically avoiding material, contamination. That's the idea. To what level you want to avoid, it depends on how much my consciousness is advanced. If my consciousness is very gross, I may follow gross level of four relative principles. But if my consciousness is more refined, right? For example, I heard that not eating chocolates is something which is mainly followed by the followers of Rajam Prabhu and other devotees. But in other ISKCON centers, they may not be so strict, not eating chocolates, for example, right? Now, why Prabhuji is strict about this? Yeah, because it may not help us to develop Krishna consciousness. So if that goal is clear, then we know that there are different levels possible, and let me follow whatever is helpful for me to go one step away from Maya, one step closer to Krishna. Right? This is my understanding. Prabhuji, you want to add? Okay. So
One
yeah.
more question.
Uh, yeah. So for the five samskara, pancha samskaras, initiation, five things are there. One need to do tapa, then mantra, and yajana, and etc. So the tapa means is a four regulative principle, and as you rightly mentioned, four regulative principle, one is a very gross and more subtle aspects. Many details are also there within the four regulative principle, as rightly mentioned. Huh. Um, and also Prabhupada mentioned one of the very important tapasya what devotee need to perform is rising early in the morning and attending Mangalarti. Prabhupada says that this is also a tapasya uh, for devotee. Mm. Another place Prabhupada mentioned, another tapasya is to be in association of devotee. Mm. To be in association of devotee. The tolerating, basically. Because practicing Krishna consciousness in association of devotee uh, it goes tough if one is not practicing Trinadapi Sunechena, Tharoriva Sahishruna, Amanina Mana Dena Kit. And that gives impetus to practice these principles, being in association of devotee. So tapa, then there are so many aspects of the tapasya. Yes. whatever brings us close to Krishna, as you mentioned.
Just a technical question about the second verse. There is that how because of Maya living and it takes different forms that you were explaining. So that 84 lakh species of life. So I had this question many years, but could not get answer. I just asked, like the divisions are told, like Jaljanava Lakshani, and then 4 lakhs of humans. So this count, can you give some understanding if you have read or heard how this 4 lakh comes? It's based on consciousness we have heard, but how can that division be made based on consciousness? It is so subtle. Means there can be unlimited. Why only 4 lakh is mentioned? If you can help.
Yeah, so I have not read specifically about this why this particular number, but based on my deliberation, based on what I have read and heard. So I do believe it's like within the 4 lakhs, a species, for example, humans, right? So there is a distinction between, like we say, Jalaja and Avalakshani. The Jalaja type of species, right? They have like it's a broader division, and within that broader division, the finer division is all those different 9 lakhs. Similarly, the broader division is 4 lakh humans, right? So the distinction between two different groups will be very high, but the distinction between, like for example, if I say 4 lakh human species, first, second, like that, if you go between them, there'll be minor differences, right? And again, it also depends on the how the combination of three modes, right? So to what extent sattva guna is dominating, to what extent rajoguna is dominating, to what, so basically different permutations and combinations of all this. So all this 84 lakhs is basically your permutations, combinations of the gunas, the covering basically. But more technical answer probably I may have to read more and get it. Okay. Hare Krishna. Stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.